Hi, this is Steve Gilmore, and this is the Gilmore Gang. A couple of housekeeping notes. I've been in conversation with Mike Arrington about a number of things. I hope everybody has read my conversation with Ray Ozzie from last week. And so the experiment continues. We're going to do a post on TechCrunch every Saturday. Should be up around 10 o'clock in the morning. So be sure to collect all of the cards. And in conjunction with that, we're going to start putting the Gilmore Gang on TechCrunch TV. It'll either be this week or next week, depending upon. I had hoped to launch that with Mike on the show, but he's not available today. But he says he's available next week, and we'll find out. So we're very excited about that now that we're getting this incredible momentum of at least 5 people simultaneously. Okay, so to our cast today, it's kind of like Disney. Cast of characters includes, from my right, Kevin Marks.
Hi there.
Hi, Kevin. What is your @ sign? It's @ Kevin Marks, correct?
It's @ Kevin Marks.
Okay.
It's simple, yeah.
All tweets need to have at least 2 @ messages appended in the new era of communications. We're building up an architecture of
Right.
of @ mentions, or whatever they are called by the.
Well, so someone at Enterprise 2 said that you could carbon copy tweets to your email, so I thought that was good.
I don't know what that means, but we'll find out. You can explain it later. To your left, to my less than immediate right, is the infamous Robert Scoble. Welcome, Robert.
Hey, what's up?
Ooh, he's got that DJ voice now.
Yeah, because I had a cold for the last week and a half.
I want to point out that, Robert, you had this post earlier this week on the internet. You're still using the internet. I noticed, yeah. And it was basically you took a transcript of a Gilmore Gang and reprinted it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it includes the deathless phrase from Robert Scoble. Wait. Nice job.
Well, Mike Arrington can run across you. If
he can get to you. Okay.
Hopefully we won't have a fight like that for a while.
I don't think you've been able to succeed in baiting him into this one again. At least not so far. But
well, he sort of said I was right, but he did it in a way that was funny.
Well, he did write a post where he acknowledged that he had a different opinion several years ago, which I think was your point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Of course, he always attacks me for saying that Office is dead and then, saying that it's not dead. Although I've never said that it wasn't dead, and it continues to be dead. So now we've got some ammunition. Center screen is my friend from across the waters. Oh, we got 2 Brits on the show today. Andrew Keene, welcome, Andrew.
Hi.
What's your story?
I'm the TechCrunch TV representative. Mike sent me because he couldn't come.
Oh, really?
No, not really.
So you've got to be Mike, have you?
I'm trying to be Mike. It's very hard. But I'm on TechCrunch TV, so if we're going on there...
What do you have on TechCrunch TV? What's the name of the show?
My show is called Keen On.
Uh-huh. So you're keen on
I'm
Sophie
keen
Tucker?
on whoever I'm on.
Okay, I get it.
It looks like Roger Federer in your background there. You're watching the tennis there?
My kids are.
Okay, and
Excellent.
that, without any introduction needed, is John Toshek of CloudBlog and Salesforce. And what's going on?
Oh, I just survived during the days and look forward to being on this show today.
Okay, very good. That's a bullshit comment that we'll
That's all I do.
memorialize. Okay, so Scoble, what's heating up your stream?
Microsoft Connect came out this week, but everybody seems to be playing that war game, Black Ops.
You mean you can't have mine if I can't have yours?
Yeah, something like that.
So what is Microsoft Connect?
It's a system that has it's a $150 box that you buy for your Xbox, and it has on it 2 cameras and a laser and an array microphone, and it basically sees
Connect. I thought you were spelling that Connect.
Kinect, Kinect, and it basically lets you play video games with just using your body, not using a controller. So you play soccer by kicking a ball, you play table tennis by using your hands.
But you have to have an Xbox, which you do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how long do you think that'll last before they make it available for Wii and Y and the other ones?
It ain't gonna come out for other systems. Kinect is an Xbox system. Yeah.
Do you think that's a smart strategy?
Yeah, that's fine. I have a Sony.
Well, you have
PlayStation
one,
as
but-
well. Yeah, I have one, and so
right.
do most people who play video games. So,
Andrew, do you have a Xbox?
No, I don't have one. I can't afford it.
John, do you have an Xbox?
I don't.
Kevin?
My sons do. I wouldn't say I have one.
Oh, okay. Are they interested in this new Kinect toy?
Yeah, they're sort of interested in it. I think they're more interested in the Rock Band 3 with real guitars type stuff. But I'm sure they'll be wanting this for Christmas at some point. Yeah.
So you can have Rock Band 3 without the real guitars now.
Well,
You just play like you have it.
right.
Uh-huh.
Well, no, but the Rock Band 3, has got new controllers that is an actual keyboard that's a real keyboard, and an actual guitar that has strings that you play rather than a bunch of plastic switches.
So in other words, it allows you to be able to be a musician.
Yes.
Right. As opposed to like analog guitars, like with no wires attached, which also do that.
No, as opposed to the red and green.
As opposed to the existing plastic Rock Band things that you're better at playing if you're a drummer than you're a guitarist. Yeah.
Gilmore, Jerry Schumann points out that the Kinect drivers have already been hacked, and so we'll see it on other devices probably soon.
Thank you, Jerry. That was my point.
Yeah.
So you're excited about that, right, Robert?
Yeah.
And that's
It's a lot of fun. I'm very sore. I've been playing it for a week now, and it's a lot of fun. The kids are downstairs
So
playing
you're
it right
sore from not holding something.
No, because you got to get off your couch and kick things and hit things and move around and go skiing. You know, you got to push poles and stuff like that. It's a lot of work. You actually work up a sweat doing it.
So, John, do we have an enterprise analogy for this? Can you sit at your desk and make faces and ignore people and send
Minority
messages that
Report.
way?
It's Minority Report. You know, that's the
Get that
the enterprise
PowerPoint out of my face. Get that.
Actually, there is a enterprise usage of this, and that's a video conferencing system. I've already done several video conferences with groups of people on both sides, and the array microphone picks up no echo, and the camera follows around the main speaker. It's pretty interesting stuff.
That's
And
like
you can-
Cisco's telepresence, or something different from that.
Well, it's
cheaper.
$300 instead of $300,000, but yeah, it's sort of like that.
No wonder
not
Cisco dropped 16% yesterday.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not it's not quite HD, but you know, the Cisco thing is a room that you have to build into your company, and that this is something you can do from your living room or from a startup. You know, a startup can afford an Xbox; they can't afford a Cisco.
It is an
telepresence.
Xbox system, though. It's an
Yeah.
Xbox telecom. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a Xbox Connect. You put a Connect in your conference room, and you can do video conferencing.
Okay.
All right.
Or I could pick up my
Or you could
iPhone
use
and do it
any of the other
for
three
nothing.
devices you've got that have got cameras on. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, Andrew, do you have an iPhone?
Yeah, I do. You told me to get one.
I did, but, you know, it usually lags by 6 months to a year from when I tell you.
So what's the next thing I should get?
I don't know. What do you think? What are you interested in the world of technology?
Well, I'm thinking of getting the next generation iPad. I assume it will come out in January.
Well, it's already come out. It's called Android. And
Is that the next? I thought you were a big Apple person.
I am. I'm just This
It's
is
trolling.
this is pre-goofing on it. I'm setting up the idea that there's an analogy. As far as I
Well,
can tell,
I'm assuming that
it's
the
a
next
big
version, maybe you guys can
phone.
help me with this, should be a significant leap over the first one,
I don't know why you make that assumption.
because it usually is, right?
So they changed the world, and then they come out with Rev 2 to
Well, it's going to
rechange
have
the
a
world.
camera, and probably will have the nice glass from the latest
Right.
generation iPad.
Hold that up again, Kevin.
So is this the next generation one then?
Yeah,
It's really thin.
yeah, and
It's got nearly as many pixels. Costs half the price.
and as an extra added attraction, it
has two cameras.
It's slimmed down from 7 inches to 3 inches.
What is
Or
that one,
easier
Kevin? The
carrying.
iPad, the iPod, the
It's
iPhone?
the new iPod Touch, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
that's awesome, by the way.
It'd
Do you-
be really nice, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of this.
And I saw on the New York Times site, actually not, I saw it on the New York Times iPad app, a story about this wrapper for the iPod Touch, except not really, more for the previous generation Touches, which they need to fix, which contains a battery and a radio. So, and it's from Sprint, I believe, so that you can basically do everything with a hotspot. It's a hotspot for $10 a month, or $10. $10 a month.
So Apple always do their big thing in January, and presumably it will be the next gen iPad, right?
I don't think so. No,
You don't? What will they announce then in January?
I don't know. Robert, do you think they'll announce something?
I think they're doing an iPad. I've heard
January.
rumors about a new iPad coming for months now.
Oh,
They're not going to do a new phone, right? Because they already announced that one.
Well, the phones come in later in the year. They usually come out
Right.
in March.
Well,
They'll do a new iPad at some point soon, yeah.
yeah, I just don't think it'll be January. The
So
thing,
what, but January is their big window. What else would they announce? A television product?
Well,
John,
they already did that. Yeah.
They could do something around cloud and music. They haven't done really much around La La or anything like that. I don't know what they would announce. If it's not hardware, if it's not the 7-inch iPad, if it's not the iPad with the cameras, then it's got to be something.
why do you need
more
an
like-
iPad with a camera? I've already got a camera.
You just got buyer's remorse because you bought 2 of the originals, and in about 2 months they'll be outdated.
This has got 2 cameras, so they'll do that.
Yeah,
They'll
exactly.
integrate
They'll
that
have to have 2 cameras, right? For
I
the purpose
suspect
of
they'll-
what?
that's the next obvious iteration of that
But
is
the-
to bring it up to spec with ease. Ideally, get a really high-res screen on it. That would be lovely. An actual HD screen on an iPad, that I'd buy.
You
But that's
might
in it.
buy
I mean, that's they sort of, isn't that almost guaranteed when the next one comes out?
Yeah, I think so.
There's some technical complexities with it in terms of making the battery life last and so on. That may take a bit longer to come out than.
I always follow Dan Farber. He's the smartest.
No, he's
And I remember
retired.
when the iPad originally came out, he said he was going to wait for the next
He
generation.
doesn't care about this stuff anymore. He's on Real News. He cares about the president's trip to Mars or wherever he is right now. Well, I'm having trouble getting this conversation to gel the way that the last few weeks have.
How about talk about that New York Times is Apple IBM? I mean, that's an interesting subject. Are Apple and IBM so similar now? Basically, some a Harvard MBA professor said that they're not. It's yin and yang. Apple and IBM, although they used to be so opposite of each other, obviously, with the Apple Hammer Super Bowl ad. But he said if you look at it, Apple's profits just passed IBM's, and now they're going into this this mode where they're going after software, just like IBM's going into software, and they're basically very similar companies in a way. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah,
No. Nah.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a stupid.
Let's argue about Instagram versus Pick Please or whatever, however you say
Pit,
that.
please.
What about the thing with
we have
Amazon?
to-
I
we
was
have to talk
kind of
about,
shocked with the ferocity of the attacks on Amazon.
Oh yeah.
Well, you
See,
you
I
sell,
don't really.
you
I
sell
haven't been
kidney
following
porn
that.
and you try to defend it.
What?
You're gonna get.
This
you're
is
gonna
the
get
attack
whacked.
of the bad, Silicon Valley names. What are you saying? I don't understand, every other word. I assume they're names of companies, right?
Which one?
I heard Scoble just said something.
Oh, Instagram is an iPhone app for doing photography. Pic Please, PIC, PLZ, just got funded by Andreessen Horowitz, and they're competing with Instagram and other players in the camera market. But the world has gotten very hot because Instagram got about 500,000 users in a couple of weeks, and they're only available on the iPhone. I love Instagram. I'm playing with Pic Please right now, but there's something about Instagram that's just beautiful, well thought out, and I can see why it got 500,000 users in a few weeks.
And the other Andreessen project is Rockmouth or whatever it's called. What
You
does
called it
Rock
Rock
Melt
Slam
mean?
on your
Rock Scam. Yeah, that was
Rock
just
Scam,
an
yeah.
homage to Flip Scam.
Yeah.
Which, how's that going for you, Robert?
I love Flipboard.
You do.
So, yeah.
So, in other words, no matter what software comes out from now on, you're still going to like Flipboard?
I don't know. Flipboard set a high level of aesthetic beauty and on the iPad, and so
as long as we read what they want us to read, it's no problem.
Yeah, it's not about reading anything, anyways. It's
aesthetic
about
beauty. The trains
beauty,
run on time, but
it's about not reading it.
I mean, it's kind of like it's like taking what Facebook and Google are doing and rendering it from the client. The client's going to tell you what you can read.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have any data because you have no data to store because the client won't give you the data to read. So you can't describe your behavior, right?
No, it's entertainment reading. If you read the New York Times, somebody chose.
Have you tried the New York Times iPad app?
Yeah.
It's Flip Scam for a single vendor.
Wrong. But that's okay.
Wait,
we know you like being anti-Flipboard, so that's cool.
All right,
I'm not going to argue about it. It's a boring argument, anyways. So if you like it, you like it. If you don't,
I liked it a couple times until I realized that it was, they're going to lock out the. So does Rockmouth lock out the market?
No, that's using Google's Chromium browser underneath, and then adds a bunch of social stuff to the sides. Is really what it's doing. So it's basically Google Chrome with a bunch of Facebook stuff and Twitter stuff added onto the side.
Well, I just finally started. Tasha told me some months ago that the Chrome was actually quite fast, and I ignored him until recently. And then I'm now starting to move over to Chrome, and then Rock Blast comes out, and so I have to decide whether I want it to be my default browser or not, because it asks me every 5 minutes.
So, Robert, did you like it? Because I would have thought if you don't like it, no one will, because it's such a social thing.
I sort of like it, but it's not aimed at me. It's not aimed at power users. And also, I do so much of my reading now on iPad or iPhone that because this is a Chrome-based browser, the Chrome browser is not available on iPad or iPhone yet. So now I have a browser that has one behavior on my laptop or my iMac, and a different one where I do most of my reading, which is on the iPhone and iPad. But I'm a very mobile guy. 70% of my Twitter reading is on my iPhone now.
Really?
Yeah. And what client do you use on the iPhone?
The Twitter client.
Mm.
Yeah.
I just switched over to that one as well. It's much better than the others.
I've been finding Twitter incredibly usable recently.
Twitter.com or Twitter?
Just Twitter.
iPhone
I've never been on the website. Ever since they took Trackdown, I stopped going there. But on the mobile client, it's really great.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really understanding mobile pretty well. I saw Ev on Saturday, and I gave him some hell about not doing location very well, and he says that they're going to that they're reworking and rethinking how location plays on Twitter, because nobody's using the location features, or very few people are using the location features in Twitter.
So what are they supposed to do with it? Yeah, they ask you whether you want to tell them. Do you
Yeah.
have to, and if you say yes once, then they do it forever?
Yeah, and if you use an iPhone or an Android phone or a phone that has GPS built into it and that reports it, it actually shows where you actually tweeted from. But most people are really freaked out about that because they don't want you to know that they're home or not home. And so they really need to rethink what location means and how to control it in a way that makes most people comfortable with it.
Are you comfortable, Robert, with the idea of the current versions of Facebook Place and Foursquare?
I am, but I find them lacking. Facebook, for instance, you don't have control of how your location gets shared. It's all or nothing. Either I check in and tell you I'm at a McDonald's, or I don't check in and I don't tell you that I'm at a McDonald's. And I wish I could say, you know, my family gets to see this check-in, my friends or a smaller group gets to see this one, and then the public gets to see these other ones. And I wish Facebook had that kind of control, but it doesn't. So I usually only check in to brag that I'm somewhere cool.
Like McDonald's?
Yeah, sometimes, you know, Mark Zuckerberg says he's more into McDonald's than going to a nice restaurant. So I'm, you know, if I check in with Mark Zuckerberg at a McDonald's, that's pretty cool, right?
I don't know.
It really doesn't change the content of the food.
And you can check him in on Facebook. So.
Hey, what?
You can, yeah.
I mean, Bill Gates always loved McDonald's too.
Yeah, you know.
Hey, what?
But telling everybody I'm at a Safeway buying groceries is not as interesting as saying I'm, you know, at Shoreline Amphitheater watching Neil Young play. You know, so
Were you? I didn't. See
I'm more
you.
likely to do the Neil Young check-in, not the Safeway check-in.
So I noticed that you commented on the Neil Young record. Isn't it amazing?
It's awesome.
Has everybody got it yet? No?
I don't have it yet.
No, it's really.
Can we have one for appearing on this show?
I doubt seriously that he's going to ever be on this show.
No, can you get me one for appearing on the show?
Sure.
For promoting it.
Here it comes. You get it?
Steven just said I
I
would
don't have an
send it
iPhone.
Send it out over Ping, yeah.
What?
Ping is
Ping
now attached
sucks,
to
man.
Twitter, apparently.
Ping sucks. I tried to add Twitter to it this morning and it crashed. It's like,
What is Ping? Oh, that's right.
yeah, you know, the
you
new
could-
advertising
We could have
system
seen
for-
that you bought the Neil Young album.
Well, that's what I was trying on Twitter.
You
that
know,
I bought the new
the Neil Young record is
album
the first-
and actually bought something on iTunes, and I wanted all my friends to buy it, and I couldn't even tell them because it crashed. Apple's Pings just sucks. It's the worst social piece of crap I've ever seen.
The Neil Young record is the first record I've ever bought on iTunes.
Yeah.
Ever.
Why didn't you buy the
Because they
regular
don't sell
disc?
Beatles.
What?
Why didn't you buy the regular disc?
Because I went to Walmart and they never heard of Neil Young. You know, they heard of Lady Gaga, and they heard of.
And all the other record shops are shut, right? They're all closed.
Yeah,
down.
they're all closed, and Target didn't have it either. And I was sitting there going, I really don't like this. And then it occurred to me in my thick skull that that it was available to me right now on my phone. So I immediately downloaded it. And the theory was that I would, you know, when I found it in a record store or at Starbucks, that I would buy it in the future. But they've never heard of it either.
You try
Something
Amazon.
is giving me a lot of hiss in my earphones. I don't know
I
why.
think it's Andrew. Let me see.
It always is.
Is it gone?
Yeah. Yeah, it just went away.
That's
Yeah,
Andrew.
it's Andrew. If
Yeah,
Andrew
Andrew
talks,
Lincoln.
it's the AGC on his
You're
netbook.
you're very low, Steve.
I am.
So, Robert, have you ever lived in a more exciting time? It seems like this is your moment in history. You've
No. But tomorrow will be more exciting, I'm sure, you know.
Well, it's not going to last forever. You should enjoy it while you can.
No, I think you're absolutely wrong there. I think the speed of the human experience is going faster and faster. Let me turn this thing off. Sorry. And I just put up a video today with Stanford University's automotive research lab that I got a tour of, and they're building the cars that basically got sold to Google for the automatic driving cars, and the stuff that they're working on is just very mind-blowing, and I don't see this world as slowing down anytime soon.
By the way, I thought your interview of Zuckerberg was excellent, the one you put up a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, thank you. That was a fun one. I think we're both getting more comfortable with the process of doing this stuff.
Well, they're getting more comfortable with the process of...
Can you get him on the show? Wow.
Well, that would be cool. I mean, we've had the CTO on many times.
Have him on Scoble Gang. I don't want him on the show. No, I like Brett Taylor. He lies more subtly.
He was the guy I asked a lot of personal information. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he does that, and then they alternate between. I can't say anything. I ran into their PR chief last night and promised him that I would be nice. So I'll beat up on Google instead because I like watching Kevin squirm. So I mean, what's the latest on this release of data or non-release of data? Where are we, Robert?
I couldn't hear you. You got really soft again.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the mic is dying. No, this isn't it. This is it. Testing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. You used to do that, and then it didn't do it for a couple months.
It's probably a battery needs to be changed. Okay, while I change the battery, you guys talk.
Okay.
So, Robert, are we going to have
the Google Facebook thing?
More and more of these social releases, bigger, more and more of an avalanche of them in the next year or two?
In terms of social releases being like what?
Well, all these new companies and products, everything but social.
Yeah, I think social is a trend that's unavoidable. I think what you'll see is more people integrating with Facebook or Twitter. I mean, Pick Please, I signed up for it just by clicking my Facebook icon and saying, hey, sign me up for this new thing based on my old Facebook profile. Andrew, you were just at the identity workshop this week, right?
No, I didn't go. I couldn't go.
I was there. That was last week, but yeah.
I'm sorry, Kevin was there.
Yeah.
So where do you think this is going? Because people were arguing with me in the chat room when I say Facebook is taking over the world, but every app I look at now has this sign on to the app with Facebook, and I don't know that there's going to be a competitor to that, but
well, I mean, part of what we're doing at IAW was trying to come up with a way to do the sign-in stuff in a way that is standardized, that will work for OAuth systems like Facebook and Twitter, and will work for other systems too. So the OpenID Connect discussion is about how do we make this straightforward, make the sign-on as straightforward with other systems as it is with Facebook now. And the challenge is always, how many buttons do I put on the screen? What do I get people to enter and that kind of stuff? It's always slightly more difficult to have, n than one. But we're starting to see that. We're starting to see systems that let you sign in with Facebook and Twitter and Google. Friendfeed was the first one to sort of bring that forward, but we're starting to see that elsewhere as well.
You see it with Rockmelt, right? You can do Twitter and Facebook.
On which site?
Rockmelt.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it with Brown. Is that better, by the way, Robert?
But it requires you to have a Facebook.
I can hear you at least, Steve, now.
Yeah, that was the idea.
You can't just use Twitter with Rockmelt. It requires you to use Facebook.
Yeah.
So you have to have Facebook, and then you can add Twitter.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas the point is to let you do something that's that isn't bound to any one entity.
The other
conference I've been to
of
this week was Enterprise 2, which was interesting in that there's a big rush there to adopt the standards that we've been building out in the sort of consumer end of this stuff. So they're all working on OAuth and activity streams and open social and that stuff over in that world. And because there isn't one giant company that has grasped everything, they're in some ways more open to the interoperability story. That's certainly what I was seeing there this week with Jive and Socialcast and Social Text and a whole bunch of other vendors are saying, yes, interop does make sense for us in this market. So that was encouraging.
That's interesting. So do you think Salesforce is going to be our identity inside enterprises, and then Facebook is going to be our identity
we couldn't get anybody
outside?
from Salesforce on the show, so
I'm not a Salesforce employee. I can talk about it.
Just the Salesforce guys there.
Okay, well, what do you think, Robert?
I'm quiet anyway, so.
What's Salesforce?
So
Salesforce.
Go ahead, Robert. Talk about it.
No, I'm just wondering where who's going to be the other identity player? Is it going to be a true federated non-corporate thing that we're going to see on our web pages or our new iPhone apps or iPad apps next year?
I question the reality, if not the logic, of federation. So
In which realm? In the business realm?
in any realm, I haven't seen any evidence of this. It's right up next to the Loch Ness monster in terms of reality.
Yeah, well, that's not what I was saying at E2. I wasn't seeing it from Salesforce, but I was. Seeing it from
of course, you're going to see, all the vendors that, haven't got a lot of traction are going to be talking about pulling together. It's why Google made this noise about Facebook. When the door is being shut, then everybody screams interoperability. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. I mean, everybody did that with MySpace around Open Social, but it didn't mean that it worked. It meant that it did, except that
the definition of work.
I was I spent hours on my MySpace account last year. Not true. I don't even have a MySpace account.
I have a MySpace account, but I have to admit I don't use it much.
Well, my point would be that yes, this is classic history. Is that everybody else bands together? The question does there need to be one big vendor in order for that behavior to occur? And I think in the enterprise space that's not the case.
Right.
So it's Facebook against the rest. Is that what you're saying?
Well, in terms of identity right now, they certainly have Rockmouth points out the value. I mean, it's easier. I went on, because I wrote this post on TechCrunch, I had to get into the comment stream, so I was forced into Discuss or whatever that thing is called. And
you weren't forced. You chose to.
No, I was forced into it.
Why?
Because I couldn't respond. What am I going to do? Respond anonymously to my own post? Didn't make a lot of sense. So I tried to log on with my account, which has been blocked by Dave Weiner or something, so it doesn't work. And then that's right, it was blocked by Dave Weiner, and it doesn't work.
Which account?
Discuss. It's D-I-S. How do you pronounce that? Disclose?
Yeah, you pronounce it right.
Discuss.
Oh, okay. And then there was this fabulous Facebook Connect button, and I clicked it, and it worked, and it was done.
Yep. Anyways, Carolee is saying she always uses Twitter to sign in. It's interesting. Most of my social behavior is on Twitter, but I almost always use Facebook to sign into these different sites, mostly because the social graph on Facebook is much stronger. I've only added people I know on Facebook, where Twitter I've followed 26,000 people, some of whom I know, and some of whom...
That's your fault for doing it that way. I mean, for me, it's the other way around. The people on Facebook, the people I don't want to bother with this stuff because they're, random family and school connections, whereas the Twitter ones, I'm assuming, are the people who are into the same sort of weird techie stuff as I am.
Interesting.
Well, the reason that I think Rockmouth is really quite good is, and I'm writing a post which is called "Why I Hate TypePad," and basically I really like Rockmouth because it isn't TypePad. So I haven't finished it yet, but their use of the Facebook experience and they're moving into the Facebook chat, for example, I find really interesting. On the left, for those like Robert who haven't actually used the product yet.
No, I've used it. I did a whole video with them.
I know. But, that was 20 shiny objects ago. So, I was just trying to remind you.
4, actually.
So
there's a lot that came out this week. There's a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, but you can't pronounce any of the names.
Tweezer, yeah.
Okay, what does Tweezer do? I win.
It
win.
hooks into your contact list on the iPhone and shows you when somebody has sent you a Facebook private message or a Twitter direct message or an email. And it doesn't quite work for somebody at my scale, but it actually is pretty interesting. And I want to see more innovation in that along that line.
Is there anyone of your scale, Robert? Is there anyone
Not many.
else?
You know,
Who do you
TechCrunch.
consider in your league?
TechCrunch.
Yeah, but that's a company. What other individuals are on your level?
Leo Laporte, maybe Steve Gilmore. There's a few.
Oh,
Steve
please.
Gilmore doesn't even know how to pronounce Rockmelt.
He's doing
It's
that for
rock
Even I know
mouth.
that one.
I
know
this-
that's for entertainment and comedy, not for reality.
Oh, he's being joking.
Oh, and there's a difference. I mean, did you see George W. Bush on TV this week?
I saw him on
Speaking
60
of
Minutes.
comedy, he was pretty good.
good.
The new laid
He was
back
actually
George.
really good.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. But then I've never
You
been
liked
a
him a
Republican.
lot. Why?
I did. Why? Because he's relaxed. He's an ex-president for life. He doesn't have anything to prove. And
There's no reason to like him.
No, he came across very likable.
he's very likable.
Well, there was never any debate he was likable. That's not the issue. It's never been with him, right?
What? Speak up. I couldn't hear you.
I mean, the thing with George W. Bush is there's never, even the people who don't like him would acknowledge he's likable. He's probably a very congenial character.
He never came off that way to me. He never came off as intelligent, which he certainly did in this.
Oh, he did?
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't seen it. How did he come across as being intelligent?
Well, he wrote a book for one.
He's not. He wasn't
I don't know if
nervous.
he really wrote it, did he?
I think he did, actually, based on how he was telling the stories.
Yeah, but I read that in the book he confessed that he was thinking of invading or launching strikes against Syria and Iran. That didn't sound very intelligent to me.
Well, he didn't talk about that, but he talked about several other of the decisions he's made, and he came across as very intelligent in a way that he hasn't
What was intelligent?
before.
What did he say that struck you as being intelligent? I don't know because I haven't seen him.
His ability now to look at both sides of of an argument and tell you what was going on. I think that was interesting. You know, and I don't know that he's Bill Gates kind of intelligence or something like that, or Peter Piot, the guy who discovered some of these viruses, kinds of intelligent. But he came across much more interesting than he has in the past.
I agree with it. I can't say.
Carol,
I'm sorry. I know Carolie's going berserk. She's her brain is imploding on the thought of. But you have to look at the results of the election. Not. But that's another show that's off the air.
Yeah.
So
I had flashbacks there. We were talking about politics. I was like, "Oh, did we switch it to a different show?"
Our time is not yet. When it gets close to 2012, we will resurface.
So,
all right, that was one. Tweezer. What else?
Auditorium, which you can't spell because I can't, But Auditorium is this app here, and it's like Flipboard for music, for independent music. So it shows you a grid.
There's a contradiction in terms.
Yeah.
Independent and Flipboard.
But it shows you a grid of these new musicians. You touch one of them, and it starts playing their music. And it shows you a picture. And then along the bottom, you can pull up an interview. You can go to next.
Sounds like my clock alarm radio.
Anyways,
I'm looking for it.
I like
Would
this.
somebody please
I'm
turn that off? Don't put it on Rewake. What is that thing? Okay, what else?
Oh, let's see. What else came out? Well, the Rockmelt came out. A bunch of Windows Phone 7 stuff came out this week. I had previews of Looped and Zappos on my show, but a few other apps came out as well. And I think a whole 20 people were standing in line in one store, but God knows, the sales on CNET were...
John, what was that ROI thing that you were telling me about?
The ROI of
there was some sort of you gave me some numbers on Windows.
Oh, right. They spent $100 million on the advertising campaign, and then the reports came out that said that they had sold only 40,000 of them. So if you just do the multiplication, they're in a huge deficit situation there. It's hard to tell if those numbers are correct. Some stores say they sell out. Microsoft says it's a success, but they apparently have a lot of inventory too. So they're available, but only 40,000. That's compared to 100,000 Android a month.
A day, I thought it was.
A day, sorry, and 400,000 pre-orders for the iPhone 4 alone. So, so that's I don't know. It doesn't.
Considering that Microsoft gave away 90,000 to its employees or 80,000 to its employees, that's pretty damning.
I don't think they counted those.
No, but
or maybe they counted them as 40,000 sold.
What they give away so far. They're in a deep hole. I mean, I've been saying this for a long time on all sorts of shows, and Microsoft is in a deep hole and has to dig out. And this is not going to be an overnight success. On the other hand, Kinect is sold out, so they have a success with the Xbox, but not with this thing.
Yeah, by duplicating the Apple model, which is establish a marketplace and then sell widgets to it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So are they going to do that with the Windows Phone, Kevin?
They don't have a beachhead there. There's nothing to. What can they latch onto?
Well, I think also they haven't been positioning it that way. I mean, they're positioning this as the red state phone instead of these annoying blue state phone full of yuppies who check their phone all the time. Their entire positioning is this is the phone for ordinary people to get stuff done. Not for you to live inside the phone. So I'm not sure how the App Store model fits in with that.
Well, I mean, how does reality fit in with that? It seems like everybody is living inside their phones. So it's interesting counter-programming.
Well, no, I mean, they're doing Microsoft isn't selling to New York and San Francisco. Microsoft is selling to the rest of the US. That's what they're up to.
Yeah, but the problem is the rest of the U.S. has this. All their friends have either Android phones or Windows or iPhones, and they know that all these cool apps are there. They see it on TV, right? So when you walk in and you don't see very many apps on this phone, are you really going to get excited by it? And also, the people. These aren't the people who stand in line and wait for things.
No, that's right. They're not. That's what they're trying to sell.
What do you mean stand in line and wait for things?
I stood in line for 2 days to buy my iPhone.
Yeah, but you're a lunatic. I mean, you could come the next day.
Yeah, there was about 1,000 other lunatics in line with me. It was great.
But that's your brand. But regular people, I went the next week, and you just.
But who was doing that in the rest of America? Who was doing that not in San Francisco?
I don't know.
This is my point.
Now we're going back to why I say I don't care about normal people. I don't want to be normal.
Yeah, no, the chat room is.
Microsoft makes money selling stuff to normal people. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I was in New York one day, and there was plenty of lines in New York, and there was plenty of lines at other Apple stores.
I said San Francisco, New York.
Yeah.
Maybe LA, but.
No, there was lines in Pittsburgh. I mean, there was lines all over the world.
There are lines whenever Apple does anything.
There are lines. Cities, but that's where population is.
There are lines for Apple.
Do you think that it ever comes up in a Microsoft board meeting where someone says, "Why are we wasting our time with the phone?"
No, because they'd have to get in line behind a whole list of things that they're wasting time on.
They have to waste time with this because they know that when you buy into a system, an ecosystem, and you're switching your behavior from your laptop to your mobile phone, that really is threatening to them as a business. Because now, if you are going to buy into the Apple or the Google ecosystem, now all of a sudden you're not buying Office, you're not forcing your IT department to buy SharePoint and Exchange and SQL Server and all that stuff. You're buying into a whole new ecosystem. And
I want to put this on a loop. This is music to my ears.
Yeah.
Put what on a loop?
Office is dead.
Scobble. Yeah, I mean, Scobble. I mean, there was a point in time, I don't know how many years ago, I think it was at Gnome Dex, where you were recently retired from Microsoft, where you finally acknowledged the reality that Office was dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean Microsoft's dead. I've been very impressed with the people I've been meeting recently from Microsoft.
Oh, they have all these.
They've got great people, except
have you met Mark Davis, the guy who used to run mobile at? I did an interview on my Keen show. It will be next week, and he's fantastic on the social. He's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, Mark's very good. I had a good chat with him.
There's lots of brilliant people there. I mean, I just got a tour through Microsoft Research, and you know, you meet Andy Wilson there, who's just done some incredible stuff and came up with the Surface computer, but they just don't know how to ship product in a time frame that we care about it. Now, the Xbox Connect is proving me a little bit wrong there. That's actually innovative, and that's pretty cool product.
Yeah, but you know, first of all, they've been working on that for 5 years, and they announced
they
it 2
bought an
years
Israeli
ago.
company, actually.
Well, all of the stuff that they've been doing around
well,
that kind
Xbox Connect was a purchased company that
right, but it was
the Xbox
but Microsoft Research has been doing visual tools for a very long time.
Yeah.
Well, the way they started talking about it is when the Wii took off. Microsoft had started seeding the press and the blogosphere with information about what's coming, and now when it's arrived, everyone knows about it already. So they've built up a whole constituency, and they've had the game makers on board, and so they've got at least one good game out there. They've got the telepresence, as you were mentioning before. So they did it the right way.
Well, the real Xbox takedown was Xbox Live. They got way out in front with multiplayer real-time games. I mean, for all the talk about how Microsoft doesn't get the internet, they get it just fine, thank you.
And don't they get social better than Google?
Well,
with Xbox Live,
what's
that's
your point?
True. Xbox Live certainly gets social better than Google.
But Andrew, what's your point? I mean, better than Google?
Google doesn't have any social products, do they?
Exactly. Well, so they're better than Google. They're better than having no strategy.
Tried. They've all failed.
Well, there's for some value have failed. In the hundreds of millions of users, class have failed. Yeah.
Well, how's that Buzz implementation going for you?
I'm still using it. Works for me.
For what? It's a message group now.
They shut that
down.
You're thinking of Wave, and they didn't shut it down either. They just
no. I'm not talking about Wave. I'm talking about Buzz.
I know you're talking about Buzz. Yeah, Buzz is chugging along for me. I find it useful. I get stuff flowing into it.
If you want to follow, what's his name? It's the only place to follow him. But other than that, what's that guy's name?
DeWitt Clinton. Who are you talking about?
Exactly. You just made my point. One person on the planet, and I point out that he's the only user. Yes, exactly. I mean, I don't understand how people don't understand that Buzz is a massive failure. I mean, it was designed to replace FriendFeed, which, I like that idea, but nobody else does.
I suspect it's got more use than FriendFeed at the moment.
No, our chat is going at 133 comments here.
Oh, so yeah, you're
fine, thank you.
You're the DeWitt Clinton of FriendFeed, aren't you?
No, there are a bunch of people who every week, and as a matter of fact, since Scoble was decrying how his hatred for normal people, this thread was live. It was hot all week. This morning before the show.
I hate when I miss getting capped on.
I'm the only normal person on this show. Did you know that?
Normal.
Which is the second normal people.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You try to make that
interesting value of normal there.
Yeah. But in London, would you be considered normal, Andrew?
I don't know if you realize I don't live in London. Did you know that?
Yes.
I have no way of knowing for sure that that's true. I haven't seen you in the flesh, as it were, for quite some time.
I live in Santa Rosa,
Mm-hmm.
where I have the second largest Twitter following. Did you know that? That's why I moved here. I thought I'd have the largest, but there's a cyclist who has about 1 million followers.
And that was the app we're talking about building, which is which town should I move to be the biggest Twitter user in town?
Why does that matter?
Yeah,
this show's going downhill.
no, it's moving quite along stably, as a matter of fact. All right. Well, we have to. Andrew has to leave at 2, correct?
Well, I got a little bit of extra time.
Okay, extra. So I'm still on this Rockmouth thing because I think it's really interesting what they're doing with sort of accelerating the presence, Facebook presence, which is pretty much moribund. I mean, nobody realizes that they have a chat system. And yet, when you look at Rockmouth, it's got them listed on the left side. And if they had something that was actually a little bit more configurable and which was related to actual usage about, people that you want to know whether they're online or not, it's a really interesting blend of technologies. Does anybody agree with that?
No, I think it's fairly interesting and quite well done, but it feels like it could be a couple of plugins rather than I'm not sure why they had to bake it into the browser itself. But
I think that when you talk to them about where they're going, I think that's why. It's not about what they released this week. It's that they're trying to build a browser for my wife, and my wife is totally addicted to Facebook. That's all she does. I watch her. She does that and plays Angry Birds. Well, now she doesn't play Angry Birds anymore because she played through the whole game, so now she has to find
speak English, your wife?
Yeah. And people like that who spend all day long on Facebook would be amenable. They would be attracted to a browser that shows them more about what's going on in their social graphs.
Tina has pointed out that Yahoo, according to news reports, is firing 20% of their company.
Yeah.
And they're buying Groupon, right? $4 billion.
Really?
John, you're sort of fading away in terms of your visual image, but would you comment on that?
About the Yahoo laying off 20%?
Yeah.
Well, Yahoo tried to be a media company and failed. And they shouldn't have been a media company. And like a lot of media companies, they went down the same path, and they can't. It's so hard to recover from that. They also, secretly, I guess, behind the board, they had 10% cuts across all their major divisions, which caused these moral failures, where some people were just laid off for no reason, even though they had business units that were succeeding. So, Yahoo's got a tough road ahead. I think it'll have to go do an acquisition strategy, or, more likely they'll get acquired by someone else. There's not a lot of optimism I have over Yahoo right now. I mean, I don't know what they stand for. What's their motto? I don't know.
They're like a parable of decline. There's a wonderful book on them. But every single opportunity that could have been missed, they missed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ballmer said to them, I've got my foot on your neck. You give, or else we're going to crush you. And they said, no. That's what happened. They were in an incredibly vulnerable position. Microsoft stepped in and defined the depths of their difficulties, and they never recovered because they thought that they were wrapped in the magic Silicon Valley pixie dust that doesn't exist.
I don't think they ever recovered from not buying Google. I think that was the final.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody didn't buy Google.
Yeah, but nobody else had the chance or the cash. Who else could have even bought them or had the deal on the table?
Microsoft, Oracle. There's a list of
Oracle
companies.
was going to buy Google when?
There's a lot of people who wanted.
They have a very large
I'd like to buy
M&A
Google.
division.
Doesn't mean I can. I mean, but only Yahoo was in serious. I don't think Oracle ever was, were they?
Yeah.
Well, we wouldn't know unless there was a trial.
the real problem is what does Yahoo do? You know, and especially with Carol Bartz. I mean, I was talking with Arrington the other night about this, and I said, I was laughing my ass off when she was telling him to fuck off, right, at his conference. But she really had no answer for what Yahoo was. And she still doesn't. I still don't know what Yahoo is and what it's going to be. If they're buying Groupon, what kind of strategy is that? And where do they go with that?
Well, Groupon, that would be an acquisition in the other direction. It's kind of like when, Lotus was bought. At least in terms of applications and communications, Lotus became IBM until IBM changed their business model to being a services company. I mean, if Groupon was bought by Yahoo, it would be Groupon/Yahoo in a very short period of time.
Yeah. And, if Groupon really is the new strategy, totally. And what happens to Flickr? I bet lots of stuff gets spun out, and kicked to the curb if that's the case.
I don't know what you mean by Flickr.
Well, Flickr's a Yahoo.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but
how does it fit into a Groupon strategy? What?
Well, that's an interesting question.
Well, it fits into an Instagram strategy. I mean.
Yeah, but Instagram is two guys, okay, and they might get $20 million in valuation, but they're going to take $4 to $8 million in venture capital. But it's two guys. I mean, I met them they were renting a table at the Dogpatch Labs up at Pier 38.
But I mean, Flickr. What has Flickr got that Facebook hasn't already peeled away? The second that Facebook releases a way of allowing people to recover the original pictures, Flickr's done.
Yeah.
I mean, how many photos are on Flickr? Right? I mean, my family's pictures. My daughter, she takes 7,000 pictures a day, and they're all on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife's too.
Right. So what's Flickr?
I don't know. That's the question is where there's upcoming.org, there's Yahoo Finance, there's Yahoo Mail, which has, I don't know, a couple 100 million users. And there's the Yahoo homepage, which shoves a lot of traffic everywhere. But where does Groupon fit into that? And what happens to all those things when Groupon comes along? I don't know.
I think it shows the redundancy of the traffic model. The fact that AOL and Yahoo still probably have the most amount of traffic on the internet, but they don't really have any value.
A question, since Arrington's not on the call, is AOL going to buy Yahoo and shore up, join two shrinking companies together and find a strategy there?
I don't think AOL is in the same position as Yahoo. I think AOL is in a stronger position than Yahoo.
Absolutely, because they have some interesting brands and they seem to have some strategy. But I don't know.
Yahoo sold their search business to Microsoft, so they don't really have a lot to sell anymore.
They have their Asian piece, which is valuable.
Yes, but they don't control that. It's there are difficulties in peeling that away. They can't unload that easily, which has been one of the published reasons why the AOL talks are not at a senior level there.
But the real question on Yahoo is, does it have any value to anyone outside Yahoo?
I still like Flickr.
No, I know you like Flickr, but I'm saying in business terms.
Well, there are people who are trapped in Yahoo Mail.
No, I don't mean it like that.
I'm not one of them.
For a company on the outside, Microsoft or AOL or Google or someone, would anyone be interested in taking them over apart from their traffic?
Well, Microsoft was, and now they're not.
Yeah.
It's a war of attrition now. And I think the faster the Gmail grows, the less value that Yahoo maintains in Yahoo Mail. Are you, John? Are you on Yahoo Mail?
I have a Yahoo Mail account. I don't use it. I use Gmail.
But you use the Yahoo News to look.
I use my Yahoo for my when I'm on the web. I use my Yahoo, and I have TechMeme, TechCrunch. I have all my news feeds going into that. Mostly interested in the finance part, and it's good at that. You know, it's still a good portal. It's faster than iGoogle. It's faster than everything else I use. I've tried. So yeah, I like it.
So there is institutional value that, you know, the question is whether there's another large web company that can absorb it easily. And so far it seems like the answer is no, with the possible exception of AOL. All right, I want to go around the table and then wrap this up. So I want to start with Kevin. Anything that's on your radar for next week?
For next week, well, I'm still digesting the stuff I got from the Enterprise 2 stuff this week, and how that the stuff that we've been building for the consumer market is being taken up in the business market, which is something I knew was going on, but it was interesting to see quite how far it had got in that. That's interesting for me.
And do you think it's gotten as further than you thought because it's almost too late?
No. I think it's you know, enterprises move slowly. You know, people have been working around the sort of business rules in enterprises for a long time with these systems, and now they're starting to realize that they can bring some of that back into it. So that was interesting to me.
But I mean, you know, how long does, you know, I don't want to disparage any of my company's competitors, so except Microsoft. So I'll boot this one to John. Who do you think is? I'll let him disparage. I can agree with him. Who do you think is in the enterprise space is less than clueless, if you follow what I'm asking, about the power of the enterprise to absorb social media, other than, of course, Salesforce?
In the enterprise space, so of the big four, I mean.
Well, I mean, who are the big four? Number one, I mean, Oracle, would they be one of the big four?
Oracle's, yeah, they would be. Oracle, SAP, Microsoft.
Okay, so.
And the company I can't mention. So, of all of them, I don't know. I don't think any of them really get it. Oracle has some technologists that kind of move down that path. SAP puts out something and then forgets about it. You know, they put out something called Constellation, forgot about it. You know, so they're not there. Microsoft has it, but it's all software, and you know that, and then the guy who could have changed it left. So no, I don't.
Well, he did change it and then left.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, so we'll revert. Yeah, I don't know. So no, I don't think there's any enterprise company that gets it.
All right. Well, what about Apple?
Well, Apple is not really considered an enterprise company, but I guess it is, because they do sell a ton of stuff in the enterprise. So Apple, do they get social? No, Robert said that Ping was the worst thing he's ever used, the worst social tool he's ever used, so they don't get it.
They don't need to.
Yeah, I agree with Andrew. No, they don't need to. You know, Ping is a Trojan horse for them, you know, figuring out how to use the cloud. I mean, they already use the cloud quite a bit. It's just, you know, shrink wrap behind the hardware. I mean, they're selling the cloud through the.
Yeah.
But they're primarily selling the hardware. That's the point. So they're agnostic about what you're running on it to some extent. But what's happening is, because they're driving a set of hardware that isn't made by Microsoft, that is changing the requirements for people who are building stuff. That they can't just assume that you're running, you know, Windows XP or whatever they've mandated for you to run anymore. So that seemed to be part of the dynamic that was changing in the enterprise stuff I was seeing, and part of the thing that's driving that, obviously with the growth of mobile as well, is driving some of this move away from, obviously this is the monolithic answer. The right answer is actually something that we can move between the devices.
In the chat room, Kevin, you say that you think Microsoft has become much savvier about social integration.
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Because of the stuff I've seen in the consumer side. I'm not saying the enterprise side, but the consumer side of Microsoft has got this. If they can get it across the barrier to the other bits of Microsoft, that there could be some potential there.
But isn't the trend for Microsoft toward the enterprise rather than toward the consumer space, with the exception of Xbox?
But yeah, potentially. Certainly, the enterprise is making the more money at the moment, certainly. But what I've seen in terms of innovation and understanding social, I've seen at the computer side of Microsoft with Xbox, with Messenger, with the stuff they've done for the new phone. Those pieces are starting to plug into this and use it in ways that fit in with their world. So I can potentially, the other part of Microsoft could pick up on that and move it over.
Interesting from a former Google guy. Robert, do you think Microsoft is getting clueful?
They have a long hole to dig out with their phone. Have they gotten there? They've gotten. They're a lot further along than they were a month ago. I don't know that they've gotten out of the hole though. But
Andrew?
Kinect is awesome. Microsoft is going to make so much money off of other things, and they have so many advantages to stick in the game. The really interesting ones are the RIMs and the Nokias, which we just don't even talk about anymore. But they don't have these advantages. Microsoft can throw billions and billions and billions after their Windows Phone to protect their markets. Nokia and
what do you mean protect their markets?
They
lost maybe 50% of their market share. Is it going to be so easy for them to get it back? I mean, with
they're
Android,
still making huge amounts of profit, right? Can they?
I don't think you can talk about Nokia and RIM in the same breath. I mean, if you look at I think the statistics, the numbers were released last week on sales of phones, and Nokia is number one, and their sales incorporate the next four combined. So
but it's crappy phones. It's the single chip, small screen, very little web stuff.
I mean, they fired the guy because their
those
smartphone
aren't the super phones of today that we all care about. They sell well in India and around the world, but that's not the market that's going to drive the profits. And
so
that's
what you're saying, Robert, is that Microsoft will do well overseas.
Absolutely, because the
cost of the phone.
I look at is where are markets going, not where have they been. And Nokia is like a chicken without a head, and eventually the chicken will figure out that its head's been cut off. Right? Right now the head. You say, look at the chicken; it's so big, but it has no head, and neither does RIM. At least Microsoft has a few heads because they can afford to keep buying them.
Right, but I love that metaphor. I mean, so Microsoft's the reverse. It's all head and no body.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's a nice way of putting it. I like that.
Although Microsoft has body elsewhere, they sold how many Windows 7 computers? 200 million, something like that. They still have huge market momentum based on stuff they did 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, 60% of Windows units out there are still Windows XP, though. That's an issue for them.
It's a real issue, but just stay focused on the Windows Phone. They have a long road ahead of them, and they're going to spend a lot of money trying to dig out of the hole that they're in.
I agree.
Okay, Andrew, last thoughts?
I want to figure out how I can get Robert Scoble on my TechCrunch show. Every time I invite him, he tells me he's too busy.
Go to tunglemE.com or tungle.me/Scobleizer.
Disgusting name.
Oh my God! You have to do this on a schedule. You won't say yes yourself. Now publicly, but all these millions of people.
I'll say yes for end of February.
You're that busy?
I'm booked all the way into January. Yeah.
You serious?
It's crazy, man. You got to see my calendar.
You can't come to San Francisco to do a TechCrunch show. Talk about headless chickens.
I'd love to, but my schedule is seriously booked until middle of December.
I got Obama for next month, so you're busier than him.
If I had Obama, I'd probably cancel a few meetings.
Okay, well, you guys can work that out off stage. So that's your final big thought is begging for Scoble to come on your show?
It's a very big thought.
Okay, but
I don't know why he won't do it. I think he's scared of me.
Probably am.
Well, the blogosphere is littered with people trembling.
I can't hear what you said.
I said I probably.
He's
I can't hear what Steve
fearful
said.
of the Antichrist of Silicon Valley, right?
Yeah, that's what his Twitter bio says.
Yes. What does that mean exactly? Like I don't know. Okay, so if you don't want to say anything, I will pass the ball to John. Last thoughts.
Last thought, Yahoo. Get a motto, and figure out what to do.
Get a leader who knows how to do something more than just swear.
Get some kind of tagline first, some rallying cry. I don't know. Do something there.
It's a new corporate model.
Yeah.
Get the tagline, then build out the company.
Yeah, right. Get the tactic to dictate the strategy.
Rockmouth.
Well, if they are buying Groupon, they can say, "Well, you're fired, but you'll get a discount on your next purchase."
Yeah, Yahoo will be the next
maybe they can sell themselves on Groupon.
Right, exactly.
All right. Well, hello to Keenan Jr. And I want to thank Rackspace and particularly Rob Legess for getting the show resuscitated. I want to thank NewTek and their incredible TriCaster for turning it into a video. I want to thank our producer and director, Tina Chase. I want to thank Mike Arrington for not showing up again this week. And I hope to see all of you in the chat room throughout the week as you comment on Scopel's intransigence regarding normal people. And we honor our veterans. My dad was a veteran. Flew trained fighter pilots during World War II, which shows you that no matter how liberal and left-wing you are, you're still an American. And with that, I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.